Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we have a fascinating topic to discuss: Marxism and its impact on the global economy through the eyes of a capitalist. We'll explore the dangers of Marxism and how it has affected economies worldwide. This will be a deep dive into the subject, with more examples and details to help you understand the complexities of this topic. So, grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's dive in. What is Marxism? To understand the dangers of Marxism, we first need to know what it is. Marxism is a social, economic, and political theory created by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels in the mid-19th century. At its core, Marxism is a critique of capitalism, advocating for a classless society where resources are distributed based on need. Some key concepts in Marxism include historical materialism. Marx believed that societies evolved through stages based on their economic systems, ultimately transitioning from feudalism to capitalism, and then to socialism and communism. Marx posited that each stage of economic development is marked by the dominant mode of production and the corresponding class relationships. Class struggle. According to Marx, history is a continuous struggle between the oppressed and the oppressors, or the proletariat, working class, and the bourgeoisie, capitalist class. The class struggle is the engine of history, as it drives societal change and propels the transition from one economic stage to another. Surplus value. This is the difference between the value of goods produced by workers and the wages they are paid. The bourgeoisie profits from this surplus value, which Marx saw as exploitation. In essence, the capitalist class profits from the labor of the working class, which leads to a growing divide in wealth and power. Alienation. Marx believed that workers become disconnected from their labor, the products they create, and other people in a capitalist society, leading to a loss of personal identity. Alienation occurs on four levels: from the product of labor, from the act of production, from oneself, and from fellow human beings. Now that we've covered the basics of Marxism, let's delve into the dangers it poses and how it has impacted the global economy. Dangers of Marxism. From a capitalist perspective, there are several dangers associated with Marxism. Here are 5 key concerns. Economic inefficiency. Central planning, a core aspect of Marxist economies, has been shown to be inefficient. In the absence of market signals, resources are often allocated poorly, leading to waste, shortages, and a lack of innovation. For example, the Soviet Union experienced significant food shortages due to inefficiencies in agricultural planning, resulting in widespread famine and economic stagnation. Loss of individual freedom. Under Marxism, the state controls all aspects of life, including the economy. This can lead to a loss of individual freedom and autonomy, as citizens are unable to make their own choices about where they work or what they produce. For example, in East Germany, the state assigned jobs to citizens, often with little regard for their preferences or qualifications, leading to widespread dissatisfaction and a lack of personal fulfillment. Lack of incentives. Marxism argues for equal distribution of wealth based on need, which may result in a lack of incentives for hard work and innovation. Without rewards for individual effort and creativity, people may be less motivated to excel in their careers or pursue entrepreneurial ventures. The Great Leap Forward in China, for example, attempted to rapidly industrialize the country through forced collectivization of agriculture and production quotas. The lack of incentives for individual effort and the absence of a market-based system led to disastrous consequences, including famine and the death of millions. Bureaucracy and corruption. The centralization of power in a Marxist system can lead to bureaucratic inefficiencies and corruption. This can slow down economic growth and hinder the ability of the system to respond to citizens' needs. In the Soviet Union, bureaucracy and corruption were rampant, contributing to the country's eventual collapse. Additionally, corruption in centrally planned economies often leads to the rise of a privileged elite who benefit from their connections and position, rather than merit or hard work. Historical failures. Many countries that have attempted to implement Marxist principles have experienced severe economic and political problems. Notably, the Soviet Union and the Eastern Bloc countries faced stagnation and eventual collapse. North Korea, which still adheres to a Marxist-Leninist system, has suffered from extreme poverty, food shortages, and political repression. With these dangers in mind, let's look at how Marxism has impacted the global economy. Impact on the global economy. Marxism has had significant consequences on the global economy. Here are four main areas of impact. The rise and fall of communist states. In the 20th century, many countries adopted Marxist-Leninist principles and transitioned to communism. Notably, the Soviet Union and China made up a large part of the global economy. However, the Soviet Union's collapse and the Eastern Bloc countries' struggles demonstrated the weaknesses of centrally planned economies. China has since implemented economic reforms, shifting toward a more market-oriented system that has led to rapid growth and poverty reduction. Impact on trade and investment. Marxist economies have historically been less open to international trade and investment. This isolationism can hinder economic growth and technological progress. On the other hand, the fall of communism and the opening of these economies have provided new opportunities for global trade and investment, benefiting both these countries and the global economy. The collapse of the Soviet Union and the subsequent transition of Eastern European countries to market economies have created new markets for trade and investment, fostering global economic growth. Economic inequality. Marxism aims to address economic inequality, but in practice, it has often led to different forms of disparity. In many communist countries, political elites and party members have enjoyed privileges and resources not available to the general population. This has created new forms of inequality and a lack of social mobility. For example, in the Soviet Union, access to high-quality housing, healthcare, and consumer goods was often restricted to those with connections to the Communist Party. The influence on capitalist economies. Marxism has had some indirect effects on capitalist economies as well. For example, the pressure from socialist movements has led to the introduction of social welfare programs and labor protections in many countries. While these measures have improved living standards for workers, some argue that they can also create inefficiencies and disincentives in the capitalist system. In response to the challenges posed by socialist ideas, many capitalist countries have implemented policies to address income inequality and provide a social safety net for their citizens. However, striking the right balance between social welfare and economic efficiency remains a complex and ongoing challenge. Now that we've explored the impact of Marxism on the global economy, let's discuss its relevance today and whether these dangers still hold. Is Marxism still a threat? As we've seen, Marxism has left a lasting impact on the world. But is it still a threat in the 21st century? Here are a few reasons why some believe it could be. The appeal of socialism. Despite the historical failures of Marxist economies, socialism continues to resonate with many people worldwide. The success of politicians like Bernie Sanders and the popularity of democratic socialism demonstrate that Marxist ideas still hold appeal for a significant portion of the population. This resurgence of socialist ideas can be seen in the rise of left-wing political parties and politicians advocating for wealth redistribution, universal health care, and free education. Economic inequality and unrest. Growing economic inequality in many capitalist countries could fuel support for Marxist ideas. As the gap between the rich and the poor widens, calls for wealth redistribution and systemic changes may grow louder. The Occupy Wall Street movement, for example, brought issues of income inequality and corporate influence to the forefront of public discourse, highlighting the discontent with the current economic system. Environmental concerns. Some argue that the capitalist system's focus on profit maximization and endless growth contributes to the exploitation of natural resources and climate change. This could lead to increased interest in Marxist principles as a potential solution to these issues. Proponents of eco-socialism argue that a transition to a more sustainable, socialist system could help address environmental challenges and promote equitable resource distribution. The rise of automation and job displacement. As automation and artificial intelligence continue to advance, there is growing concern about job displacement and the future of work. Marxist ideas may become more attractive as workers face increasing uncertainty and the prospect of being replaced by machines. In response to these challenges, some have proposed the implementation of policies such as universal basic income or worker ownership of production to address potential job loss and income inequality. While Marxism may still pose certain dangers, it's important to consider the lessons we can learn from its historical failures and the potential risks it may present to the global economy. Conclusion. In conclusion, we've taken a deeper look at the dangers of Marxism from a capitalist perspective and examined its impact on the global economy. While some aspects of Marxism may have influenced labor rights and social welfare programs, its historical failures and the potential risks it presents cannot be ignored. As we move further into the 21st century, it's crucial to remain vigilant and consider the potential dangers that Marxist ideas could pose to economic freedom, individual liberties, and global prosperity. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Marxism and its impact on the global economy through the eyes of a capitalist. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content. See you in the next video.